What's good, y'all? Buckle up coming through on a quick drop special. Big ups to everybody already subbed in. Appreciate it all. You haven't already subbed in, you're welcome. You all are welcome, no doubt. And of course, if you feel what I'm talking about, make sure you hit that like sign before you get out of here. Hit that like sign before you get out of here. And don't forget, if you want 12 games over a 30-day period, with the first 3 games free, just for getting a monthly pass, text 443-717-1848 and text 3 words. Just 3 words. You want in. We'll take it from there. Other than that, get the free games we give out, take the money off the floor. And as always, Sports Prediction 101 and Cash App link is in the description box for those without a pass that still want to show love. Now, let's get to the chop, y'all. Let's get to the chop. So, we got a few things to chop about tonight on this one. So first of all, we're gonna chop down this motherfucking false ass narrative that was ran last night on Bark for the Bone show, with as saying Bud said something about Danny Garcia not fighting Victor Postal, who was supposed to be his mandatory at 140 before he left and went to 147. Which Danny Garcia left 140 and went to 147 to give us additional excitement. Better than Victor Postal. And Bud never said nothing like that out his mouth. And of course, you have no video to prove it. You have nothing that you can go back to or you can go grab and get anybody to look at to show anybody anything where Bud is saying anything about Danny Garcia not fighting. Danny Garcia not fighting his motherfucking mandatory at 140. Now, Bark for the Bone said on his show yesterday, on your live yesterday, you say they asked Earl about the Bud rematch. You know that they asked Earl about the Bud rematch, and Earl said he don't know what's going on. He waiting around. You said Earl said he ain't know what was going on and he was waiting around, right? When Earl never wanted to fight, Earl definitely wasn't in condition to be in a rematch fight so soon with Bud. And on top of that, the PBC had total control of the motherfucking rematch, like they had total control of the initial match. Don't nothing change. Didn't nothing change because Bud won the fight? Because Bud won the fight, now the PBC lose all rights to this and nothing going to be done under the PBC. Bud wasn't supposed to be sending. I heard him over there yesterday telling y'all Bud was supposed to be sending Earl Spencer offer and telling them the place where we going to fight and this and that and all that shit. Bud wasn't supposed to be doing none of that. The PBC had total control of that rematch, which they never wanted to make anyway, just like they didn't want to make the initial fight. All right? Just like they didn't want to make the initial fight with the guy who we now call the GOAT, who definitely is greatest of all time, sitting in the realm with those people right now, of greatest of all time. Sitting there, like I said, with Muhammad Ali, looking at Muhammad Ali, and Muhammad Ali looking at him with thumbs up. You hear? Ain't no greatest of this shit. Greatest of all motherfucking time. And listen, y'all, let me tell y'all something else. Bark for the Bone doesn't have any receipts cooking Earl Spence and his team about shit. All right, I see him on there hollering at the top of his voice, going crazy. Oh, I got Earl Spence receipts. I got videos. You must ain't seen my videos with me cooking Earl Spence. You ain't got shit with you cooking Earl Spence. Shut the fuck up. Shut your goofy ass the fuck up. Show 5 videos. Show me 5 videos, because when you cook motherfuckers, you cook them at least 100, 150 videos. Show me 5 videos of videos or live shows of you cooking Earl Spence, and I'll close my channel down for 6 months. Show us the receipts, because I know you a capping ass yes man. I know this. I know you capping. And you know you capping. You ain't got no motherfucking, you can't pull no 5 videos of you cooking no motherfucking Earl Spence, how you was doing Bud or how you was doing Tank. All that disrespect and all that crazy shit, you wasn't doing none of that shit. You never did that with Earl Spence. Never. Listen, Bud was signed to the PBC after the fight was done. And that's how, listen, y'all, Bud was signed to the PBC after they finished the first fight, right? Remember, he signed with the PBC to get the fight, right? So after the fight, he was signed with the PBC after the fight was done. And that's how Earl Spence got in front of Bud for the Fondora fight. Remember, I was telling y'all that about fucking 10, 15 videos back? I told y'all about that shit. How they blocked Bud from getting that fight. See how that came up again? I told y'all. But yet and still, he was waiting for Bud. Listen, y'all. He was fussing last night telling y'all he was waiting for Bud over 6 months. He was waiting to see what Bud was going to do over a 6-month period. But the whole time, the PBC was been trying to get him to fight Fondora. Fuck is he talking about? How was you waiting for Bud if the PBC was trying to get you to fight Fondora? How? You can't be doing both at one time. They wasn't trying to get him no fight with Fondora. They were just blocking Bud from getting a fight with Fondora, and they didn't plan on doing the rematch. Listen, the PBC allowed Earl to do that because they didn't want Bud beating Fondora. That's all. The PBC didn't want Bud versus Earl rematch because of how Bud beat Spence so fucking bad. You got to think about it. Bud beat Spence worse than half the motherfuckers that BFTB had on that list yesterday trying to talk about Bud's resume. When he got a nerve to always be pulling everybody resumes up, looking over resumes, showing you all of these fighters on people's resumes, but he never showed y'all his favorite fighter resume. He never put Deontay Wilder first 30 fights up. Tell that nigga to put Deontay Wilder. Somebody go in his comments one day and say, BFTB, why you don't never put Deontay Wilder first 30 fights up? I bet he'll block the shit out you. How much you want to bet he'll block the shit out you? He'll block this shit out you, or 86,000, like you say, 86,000 second this motherfucker. He going 86,000 second the shit out you. If you go in there and say, put up Wilder first 30 fights. Always looking at other motherfuckers' resumes, but don't put Wilder shit up. And the nigga, and the crazy part about it, Earl Spence was having fucking eye surgery. He had a bad eye the whole fucking time. Bud don't want Bud don't even like to take fights with you going in with something wrong with you. He don't even like fights like that anyway. He don't even like fights like that. Spence didn't want the fight. Who the fuck want to fight with a fucked up eye, knowing you got to get surgery on your eye? You already know that the eye ain't right. You got to get surgery on it. Why you want to fight on it? You don't really want to fight on that eye. And the PBC already just seen you lose like they did. You think they wanted to do that shit again? Fuck no. Then this dummy motherfucker say, why would Bud fight Green Beans, who was his mandatory when Bud had one belt? Bud had one belt when he fought Green Beans. You know why he fought Green Beans right there? I don't know why y'all, it was easy to answer that question. Nobody answered it in the comments. But all y'all had to tell him was because it was the best thing to do since he couldn't get no PBC fight at that time. That's why. That's why. It was hard to get him a fight with one of them, with somebody across the street, especially for a strap. He was eventually going to get him, but he was going to get him when politics over there allow him to get him. And when he became undisputed, he was interested in pursuing to be a champion in his 4th division at 154, you lame-ass cornball. Boots was a nobody. He didn't have to give Boots the same recognition he gave Green Beans, because Green Beans took the fight when the time came for him to get the fight as his mandatory. Boots didn't do that. Like he told us he didn't do on $1 million worth of game. Boots didn't do that. I mean, he passed up the Bud opportunity. I mean, he passed that up back when he passed it up. After Bud became undisputed, Bud was moving up to the next. He was moving up to the next like the fuck he did. The next division. To get started in the next division at 154. I can't believe that this nigga, Bark for the Bone, was so desperate that he actually said Earl didn't need Bud for undisputed at 147. He actually took the time to say that out his raggedy ass mouth. That Earl didn't need Bud for undisputed at 147 when Bud had exactly what Spence needed for undisputed at 147. Because Spence was never going to be undisputed at 154 or 160 or 168. So shut your cornball dummy ass the fuck up. That never was going to happen for Spence. And he never even became undisputed at 147. Shut your goofy ass the fuck up. Bud was already that guy before he fought Spence. You just wasn't smart enough to see it, goofy. You wasn't smart enough to see it, goofy. That's your dummy ass fault. Bud was already that guy. Like we kept telling you when he came to 147, he was already a 2-division champion, undisputed at 140. When you were saying you don't give a fuck. And we was telling you who gives a fuck. At least I definitely was telling you who gives a fuck. Who gives 2 fucks about what you give a fuck about. Well, we was telling you he was a 2-division champion, undisputed at 140. Who gives a fuck that you didn't give a fuck? Who the fuck is you? So what you didn't give a fuck? You ain't nobody. Who gives a fuck what you give a fuck about? Know what I mean? And then I'm going to tell you something else he exposed yesterday. He said Jeff Horn wanted to fight Earl Spence. Jeff Horn wanted to fight Earl Spence or one of the PBC champions when Bob Earn made the Bud versus Jeff Horn. That's how you know that he was hating. That's what a hating I used to be telling y'all about. Now, check this out, y'all. So y'all know all the other 3 belts they was on the PBC, right? At that time. Y'all know the only one belt, the WBO, was over on Top Rank. All the other belts was on the PBC. So if Jeff Horn go fight a PBC fighter, and lose, now all the belts over on the PBC. That's why he was hollering that shit last night. He mad as shit now, just letting all that shit out. He ain't even mean to let that out. He didn't even mean, he probably finished his show and mad that he let that part out. He didn't even mean to let that out. Yeah. That's not true at all. That Jeff Horn wanted to fight. Jeff Horn, of course, wanted to be an undisputed champion like everybody else. But whatever way Bob Arum sent him, that was good with him. He was a top-ranked fighter, not a PBC fighter. I mean, he go there and lose all the belts over on the PBC, and the only way Bud would get a shot is by signing to the PBC. If he did that, Bud would have to sign to the PBC and take whatever money they decided to give him, because without the WBO belt, which he wouldn't have had, he wouldn't have never beat Jeff Horn. He wouldn't have had the WBO belt at 147. So without him having that belt at 147, being undisputed at 140 and a champion at 135, it wouldn't have held enough weight to buck like he did after winning the WBO belt at 147. That WBO belt at 147 gave him a little bit more leverage. Made the leverage a little bit more better for him. That's why Bob Arum put him in that position. That's why I always say that was a very strategic chess move by the Godfather, Bob Arum, to get Bud that Jeff Horn fight when he did. That was an excellent fucking move by Bob Arum. Excellent move, and it led to undisputed at 147 for Bud. Excellent move by Bob Arum, no doubt. No doubt. Now, one other thing I want to bring up, I want to mention, y'all. One other thing I want to mention. Nothing is cool about draining a fighter. Nothing is cool about draining a fighter to get a win. Alright? Not with me. It don't sit good with me. Bud never drained nobody. Bud never drained fighters his whole career. That's another thing y'all got to notice. That's another thing that has to be noticed, and we're going to talk about all of that on his video, on his that I'm going to tell y'all that I'm going to be doing in a minute, real shortly. But nothing is cool about draining a fighter to get a win. I feel like whenever a fighter is asking a fighter to drain or have a rehydration clause at their request is a sign that you're worried about being able to beat that opponent, and you're looking for some type of advantage. That's how I feel. So for an example, if Shakur, which I seen the video the other day with Shakur saying the only way he fights Devin at 147 is with a rehydration or a weight drain, through Shakur. If he don't do that on the strength of Shakur, that's why I say if he don't do that for Shakur, then basically we don't get to see that fight. That's basically what Shakur was trying to say. If he can't get him to do some type of rehydration or draining or whatever he asking about, I don't like none of that shit. I'd rather Shakur fight guys at 140 and 135 if those are the weight classes he comfortable fighting at. That's what I'd rather see Shakur do. If you comfortable fighting at 140 and 135, then just fight there. We don't need to see the Devin fight. Let Devin focus on fighting 147-pound fighters, and Devin is not going to do. He's not going to do anything that Shakur would request anyway, especially that kind of request. Devin just not going to do that. So, as far as I'm concerned, it's no reason to worry about that fight at all. Now, I know that Turk has said something about the winner of T.O. and Shakur, and we thinking that it could be Devin in May of 2026. Well, if they make that fight and Shakur beat T.O. and they decide to make a Shakur versus Devin fight, I hope that Shakur is willing to go to 147 pounds and fight Devin. Because if Devin tells Shakur that he not draining for him, he's not going to come down to like 144 at no catch weight, or he not doing no rehydration clause, then they just don't make the fight. And it's not a duck on Devin behalf, and it's not a duck on Shakur behalf. It's just a fight not done. They not in the same divisions anyway. So, hey, it's a fight not done. Devin not going to come down to 140. He not going to take a catch weight, or he not going to do rehydration. Hey, just a fight not done. Shakur ain't going to just come straight to 147. Just a fight not done. Just a fight not done. Not a duck from either end. Ducks only happen when they in your division and you in that division continuously fighting. Like I said earlier on the quick drop, on the quick drop I done, you ain't doing no ducking when you leave a division to go to a next division to be a champion. As long as you're doing that. If you're fighting in the division with a belt and you got a mandatory, then you ducking. Shakur can't demand anything from Devin at 147, so focus on 135 and 140, where Shakur has tons of A-level fighters to challenge, and we all know this, in both of those divisions. Because unless Shakur goes to the 447 pounds, he not getting the Devin fight at all. Got to keep it 100 on that. My next quick drop special going to be the Terrence Bud Crawford career, where I will piece by piece go through all the excitement we got from the guy who earned a position of the greatest of all time. Who would have ever thought we would have ever see the fighter that would sit next to Ali as the greatest of all time? One or two, he sits beside Ali, and we're going to talk about it in my next quick drop special. Other than that, see y'all on the Get Back.
first, y'all can fist fight. Let's get it straight on represent. Y'all watching Rick and Light. Really in the streets with all the shooters, I can feel the hate. Got James Brown though, no time to